Hello, YouTube world. This is going to be a quick follow-up to my last video on Westworld predictive programming. A few more things I wanted to show you I didn't get to in my last video. So I'm going to go through some photos right here. I got a copyright claim on my last video, even using no sound. So that's how it goes. If I were talking about how wonderful and how cool I thought the show was, probably nothing would happen with that. So anyhow, this is a photo from that season 3 finale, and I just want you to notice, we've got a car turned over and burning, but take a look here, and we see the all-seeing eye. We see the eye inside of a pyramid, and it looks also with flames around it, so the really blatant all-seeing eye symbolism, if you really wondered if there was something to it, that ought to make it very clear that this is programming, that these producers of this show and the people involved are showing you that they're involved in the occult, because a lot of the people, not everyone, but a lot of the people involved in making these shows are into the occult, they're into witchcraft, they're into sorcery. Many of them worship Satan, and they just show you this blatantly. And of course, as I mentioned in the last video, we saw the Black Lives Matter logo next to burn it down, ignite, all this, burning and fire and arson symbolism. There's the official Black Lives Matter logo. Then I did not show you this in the last video, so I showed you some of the clips of the rioting, and you saw people in masks during those riots. So this is for the people out there that want to say that was just a coincidence, and they had those masks on to protect themselves from tear gas and so forth, and it had nothing to do with coronavirus propaganda and predictive programming. So this was from a scene that had nothing to do with the rioting. And you feel free to go check this episode out for yourself. Season 3, Episode 8, season finale of Westworld, Season 3. So they were inside of a building, just a small group congregating and talking. And here we see a man wearing a mask. Same thing, this small group of people was in this building. We see another man wearing a mask. And a third time, this one is not as easy to see, but we see also in this photo the same scene, and you can watch this episode for yourself to check it out, but they had just entered this building, a small group of 6 or 7 people. And here we see behind the main character, Dolores, another man wearing a mask. So if you had any doubts that the masks in the riot that was coronavirus predictive programming, this ought to make that clear, that they were not just doing that to protect themselves from tear gas, because now you see these at least 3 different instances, and I could point out more if I had the time, of people wearing masks. They were inside of a building, a very small group, no rioting, no fires, anything. So why in the world are they wearing these masks? And here you see this one is the formalized with the air filters and everything. So very blatant coronavirus predictive programming. This was filmed a year ago. And then I wanted to mention, this was from, I believe, episode 4 of season 3 of Westworld, this last season. And they had this kind of eyes wide shut sex party. And you see, I'll just show you a few photos. You see here everyone wearing masks. And they had these sex slaves, and these sex slaves would be standing up on pedestals here, and I tried to find a photo. There was quite a bit of nudity in this, so I tried to find a photo where there was no nudity. And so they would pay money and choose and bid on these sex slaves. And we see the masks like eyes wide shut, the elites, and of course the black and white, Freemasonry. This is one of the main characters here, and we're going to talk more about his mask. And we see the band all in masks, a very elegant party. And in this computer keyboard, this was being used presumably to program these sex slaves, where these sex slaves were like robots or clones, you'd say. And they mentioned several times that these sex slaves had all received their shots. And this, could be, an allusion to the coronavirus vaccine. So I want to point out this was one of the main characters, and this guy was like a controller, part of this group that controlled this supercomputer that was like the image of the beast that I mentioned in the last video. And let's take a look at this mask here. It's interesting, this symbol on top of his mask. When we get a better look here. So very clearly, this represents Apollo, the sun god. We can see here how strikingly similar is it to this picture here. We see the mask right here, and eerily similar to this photo or these photos representing Apollo the sun god. And Apollo the sun god is another name that's used for Lucifer or Satan. And where do we see this? We commonly see this in the Catholic Church. Here we go right again. This is from a Catholic Church, a painting. Here we have the mask, and then this representation of Apollo the sun god. And the Catholic Church is very pagan. It does not really teach the Bible, does not really teach the true teachings of Jesus Christ, does not really teach a person how to truly be saved. The Catholic Church is very pagan, and you will see a lot of references to Apollo the sun god, which is Lucifer. And one thing I wanted to point out, I forgot. Let's see if I can find a photo of this, because I don't want to use any video to get more copyright claims. Okay, here we go. So this Westworld supercomputer, this man here was kind of one of the uber wealthy elites that was involved with, Delos and the company making all the robots and clones and what have you. And then I mentioned in the last episode, I showed a video of it, and we see that they've created in this futuristic society this supercomputer that they call their god, and it really was programming everyone, even the humans. It basically was controlling all of society and programming the lives of everyone. It was their god, they called it. And it reminds me a lot of the beast system in this world, and kind of similar to the image of the beast that we read about in the book of Revelation. This kind of supercomputer that is their god reminds me similar to what we may describe as the image of the beast in Revelation 13. And who knows what kind of supercomputers Satan has designed that literally exist in this world. So who really knows? But just wanted to point out those things. A lot of occult symbolism in Westworld, a lot of predictive programming concerning the riots, the coronavirus, and the New World Order. So God bless everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful day.